Two on the Aisle with me, Charles Gross, and Jeff Goodman. Tonight, David Lefkowitz is here for reviews of The Little Mermaid, Is He Dead?, Yellowface, Kelly O'Hara in concert, and your comments. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two on the Aisle. Good evening. And again, welcome to Two on the Aisle. How are you tonight, David?
I'm good, thanks, Charlie. Thanks as ever for inviting me to be on the aisle with you.
Start off with Disney's The Little Mermaid. Now, this is probably one of the most important animated films, The Little Mermaid, that Disney ever produced. It may be right up there with Snow White because this was the movie that put Disney back on the animation map. I mean, after Walt died, they went through a really bad period. They did produce some cartoons. None of them really stood out. The Little Mermaid was the start of Disney's second coming, and that includes a second golden age that included Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, Aladdin, etc.
So this was the one that started.
This was the one that started it all, and in fact, it was called. I'm not sure if it was this or Beauty and the Beast. It was called the best Broadway musical playing, and not surprising because it had a score by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman.
Right.
And it still does. It's now on Broadway with Glenn Slater doing some of the lyrics because unfortunately.
And Ashman died, right?
Yes.
One of them. And,
no, it was Howard Ashman. They're better known probably for Little Shop of Horrors.
Right.
And, you know, you're thinking, how do you adapt this musical? You know, probably the same way you're thinking The Lion King.
How did they do it back then?
And The Lion King was a brilliant adaptation. The Little Mermaid, much less so. Perhaps not for lack of trying, but despite that they had, you know, so much to work with, it's very, very hard to put water on stage. So the great idea here is to put them on roller skates.
Or these modified kind of rollerbladey sort of shoes.
Well, they're kind of, I forget what the technical term for them is. My daughter would know.
Or something, or
Right. And so they have them skating around the stage. And it's a nice idea, and it helps, but it doesn't quite put the show where you want it to be.
I think my problem with it was not so much the skates, or to some extent it was the costumes. And I think it's a slightly better show than a lot of the critics have given it credit for. It's just ugly to look at. It is an ugly set, and the costumes are generally ugly against it. If you stripped it down and made it a beautiful ocean, and that could just be curtain backdrops. It wouldn't have to be this plastic and this rubber tubing that they have everywhere. But if they just made it lovely to look at, and kept the songs, and kept the story, and maybe tighten it up a little bit.
Well, they did tighten up the story a bit. I think the story is improved.
Over the movie, you mean? Yeah.
Yes, which is basically a mermaid who falls in love with a prince and decides she doesn't want to, you know, be a mermaid anymore. She wants to be human. And the sacrifices she's willing to make for this, and the conflict that it causes between her and her father. And then on the flip side, you have the prince, who is this sea-loving man who's basically being told, hey, got to get down. You know, his parents are dead, so the kingdom is his to rule. And he's basically being told, hey, you got to settle down, get married, rule the kingdom. And he's not so happy about that. So they expand that again. I think that's Prince
He's not the most interesting character in the world, but
they've tried to make him a little more interesting here. Yeah. We have some scenes.
Oh, cool.
So if you're ready.
This is not B-roll, but under the sea roll.
Let's take a look at The Little Mermaid. Well, maybe not. Okay.
We're back. Hello.
Well, I don't think we're ever away.
We can sing.
We'll try this. We'll try it again in another minute.
Yeah.
I don't quite agree with you on the sets being ugly.
Okay.
But I do think they were I think the production was very lackluster, and it looked like it belonged more in a Disney park than on a Broadway stage.
I'll give you that, especially for the first 15, 20 minutes. They don't grab you with the opening number, and that's real tough in a musical like this, where A, you're appealing to a young audience, and B, if you want to get the older audience in, you've got to dazzle them, because now we know all those Disney animated musicals. Now we know how Julie Taymor knocked our socks off in the first 5 minutes of The Lion King, even though the rest of The Lion King wasn't nearly as great as the opening sequence.
But it was
still...
They
gotta get us.
But The Lion King, just the staging, and you know, just how simply she did it. I mean, she used puppets. It wasn't this high-tech thing. It was this very simple thing that really anyone could have done if you had the imagination, but no one else would have thought of it the way she did.
Well, here, like...
And here they tried.
Ariel's tail, marvelous. She's so
You thought so.
Sarah Bodges is adorable, so graceful when she moves, and
Oh,
her
yes.
tail moves with her. It's perfect. But then you have the bad queen, Ursula, or former, whatever, the exile queen.
Here she is the sister of the king.
Sister
She's
of the
not
king.
the queen.
Pardon me.
She's just a witch. And that is
That's of course,
Sherry Renee Scott. And
whose voice is so marvelous.
yes, and you will not recognize her. It's like I wanted to go up and knock on her and say, Sherry, are you in there? And who knew she could be so mean?
Oh, well, no, you could, but I love listening to her. She only has 2 songs, but I
Yes.
loved hearing her sing. I think they could have given her more business. And again, unlike Bodges' tail, which wiggled and jiggled and tickled around her, her 8 little octa arms just kind of were like
I think
there.
they're called tentacles.
Tentacles, thank you very much. Her 8 testicles were there, and they
Tentacles,
didn't do
Dave.
Tentacles, excuse me. Didn't do much of anything except hang there. Well, why, if you're going to have the ability to do that for one character, can't you make this very important character who really makes the movie second half come alive? Ursula is really important to the second half. Let her be out there going crazy and doing stuff, not sort of stuck in this shell behind her the whole
Well, I
show.
think that's a problem with the whole production. It's really, it lacks excitement. on
okay.
it. I mean,
Yes.
even the dancing. I mean, you have these numbers. There have been new numbers added to, make it, give it more songs. But even the numbers like Under the Sea, that's a great number. It's an Oscar-winning number.
It should be
deservedly
livelier
so.
a little
and it
bit.
should have been lively. There should have. And it really. I mean, I'm not saying it bombs, but it certainly doesn't give you what you're expecting. You want this to come alive. You know this number. You're ready for it. You want to be wowed, and you're not. It's not even that they don't get the C right. They just.
Well,
dancing.
Titus Burgess is the crab, Sebastian. He's okay.
Yeah, he's
I
fine.
didn't find him particularly like, wow. And that character is also, but I think we're
Like
damming all
Eddie
these little-
Corbett as the sea.
Eddie
as the-
Corbett.
yeah,
I love Eddie
as the
Corbett,
seagull,
but not here.
who was Buddy Hackett in the movie.
Was it really? Oh,
He
okay.
was, yes.
God, so long
How are we
ago.
doing? Can we try the B-roll again?
Yeah.
Of the Under the Sea roll? Can we go to that?
Can we,
All right, let's.
a sushi roll, maybe?
Can we do that, Gloria? Oh, here we go.
Under the sea, nobody beat us, fry us and eat us, in fricassee. We want no land folk love to cook. Under the sea, we on the hook. We got no troubles, like Mr. Bubbles. Under the sea, bubbles under the sea. The new played a flute, the car played a harp, the bass played a bass, and they sound and shop. The bass played a brass, the chop played a chop. The flute is a duke of soul. The ray and play the hits on the streets, the crowd rocking out the black fishy street. The snap and the snap, they know where it's at. They know that love is full.
Pathetic, poor unfortunate souls in pain, in need. This one longing to be thinner, that one wants to get the girl, and do I help them? Yes, indeed.
I see her sitting there across the way. She don't got a lot to say, but there's something about her. And you don't know why, but you're dying to try. You wanna kiss the girl. Yes, you want her. Look at how you know you do. Possible she want you to. There's one way to ask her. It don't take a word, not a single word. Go on and kiss the girl. Sing with me now.
When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore above? Out of the sea. Wish I could be part of that
Nice clams.
I'll tell you, there is something, you do notice it a bit more when the costume is on an actual flesh and blood woman than in an animated
But I think you see there, it's actually, I mean, we've spent the last 5 minutes damning the show. And it reminds me that it is kind of a nice show, and the audience really enjoyed it.
Well, I will tell you, I took my 2 daughters, and they both had a wonderful time.
So I think our expectations were kind of high on this, and because we're
and justifiably
but
so.
It's a nice piece.
Look, it's better than Aida.
Better
it's
than
better
Tarzan.
than Tarzan.
Yes.
You know, certainly not as good as Mary Poppins.
No.
Not as good as Beauty and the Beast, especially before they downsized it. I hope they don't downsize this show the way they downsized Beauty and the Beast, because they've got nowhere to downsize it to.
They'll pop some of the plastic.
Again, it's just it's a hard show to do, and I'm sure they were aiming for another, you know, Lion King type staging, but it does fall short.
Right.
Still, it's got the source material is good. The cast is good. You've also got Jonathan Friedman as the prince's advisor,
right, yes.
who I love. Sean Palmer as the prince, and obviously the Little Mermaid herself. That
I think she's a star in the making.
Yeah,
she can sing. She's
Sierra
graceful.
Boggess,
She's pretty. She's got it.
Yes, she does, and you know, I think we'll see a lot more of
And I
her.
will say, I took my aunt, and she really liked the little boy. Dario, I think is his last name.
Yeah, that would be Brian Daddario, but Trevor Braun also plays. That's Flounder,
Right.
Ariel's friend, and
I mean, I give it a moderate recommendation. I would say if you go,
or Norm
you're
Lewis
gonna
as King
try-
Triton,
Oh,
as Ariel's father.
Oh, Norm Lewis, of course. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a straight man, but good-looking fella, and he never wears a shirt. So if you're into that, go see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Where is your mind today?
I don't know.
know.
I'm so exhausted.
Is your wife spending too much time in Philadelphia again?
Probably, yeah.
Yes. Okay. 1 to 5. Well,
Playbills.
playbills. Yeah, why not?
Okay, out of 5
Out
playbills?
of 5 playbills for the Little Mermaid.
3.
3.5.
Okay.